Welcome back. Thank you guys for coming, and I hope that you are having a great day. Now, if you recall from our last episode, our party had quite a tussle with a number of undead, and they were beginning to wonder what exactly was happening down here. They, should I say more specifically, Van had also questions, as he kind of analyzed the area, and after going back to the initial main hallway that they had kind of come from, found one of the hallways, or one of the passageways that led from there, seemed to be a dead end. But it turned out it wasn't a dead end, no. Instead, it was actually a secret passageway. The party found the door, and when they opened it, they were greeted with the sight of two creatures in it would appear to be a crypt. 4 massive tombs, 2 of them open, others were not. Elijah, who had snuck in to take a peek, had thought that they were zombies and had described them that way to Perto, who, based on the knowledge that Elijah said, did sound like zombies. But when they ran in to encounter these two creatures that they thought were zombies, they were in for a surprise, as it wasn't actually zombies, but instead 2 wights. These wights would assault the party, and with each touch, each claw striking into their living flesh would drain their very essence of their life, weakening them. Now, Shanava had some, even Perto had some. Our poor Hell Knight Armiger Alec, he had it the worst, as they were draining their life of all those that came into contact with them. Our party continued to blast as many spells as they could, fighting through these 2 undead guardians, something that they were not prepared for or expected. Eventually, after a much long and hard fight, the party was able to take care of these 2 wights and examine the room properly. It seemed this room also contained a number of other prominent Hell Knight figures from the Order back in the day, and that these Hell Knights were buried with their favorite weapons. Slowly, the 2 open ones, they were able to acquire their weapons, a halberd and a greatsword. But as the other ones were a bit more tricky to get into, and Shanava did it the old-fashioned way with a crowbar, trying to force them open as best as she could. A few of them, she failed, but some she was able to open, and they were able to loot the treasures that hid within. Now, Alec was a bit cautious, as he hadn't really known these people too well, and here they were, raiding his order's crypts. But he understood adventurers needed treasure, and they needed equipment to help fight whatever threats that they were facing. So, as long as they were respectful of the body, he was okay with the notion of them taking these items. And the party helped themselves to some of the magical weapons that laid within. With that, a party then turned their attention to the other side of the underground area that they had come into. And this one seemed to also be a long hallway, where our party ran into another strange sight that they were not prepared for. A frog-like creature, and then 2 more smaller ape-like creatures just kind of camped out in a room. C2 was able to identify these ape-like creatures as Charau-ka, because they were local to where C2 was from, the Moangi Expanse. They were not from here. Even the Boggard, the frog-like creature that they had run into, wasn't. While could be seen here, the way that they were dressed definitely didn't seem to match the current climate that they were in. These creatures jumped, ready to do battle against our party, and Elijah, thinking he had the upper hand, went down another passageway in an attempt to flank around the Boggard and the Charau-ka. However, his calculations were a bit off, as when he thought the passageway would lead around into the same chamber, it instead led into a different chamber with 2 more Boggards. Elijah, after seeing that his plan had kind of backfired, chose to come back and rejoin the party, and in effect bring those 2 Boggards with him, now leaving our party in a bit of a pincer situation, as they had Boggards on one side and then Boggards and Charau-ka on the other side. Thankfully, Shanava and Alec both were quite prominent fighters, as they were able to dispose of the initial threat rather quickly. And just as time as Elijah had returned with the others, they were able to quickly turn their attention from the front to the back and take care of the additional Boggards they had fought. Now, with examination of these creatures, they discovered an interesting trait. They all seem to have a logo, some sort of emblem on them, of a draconic claw smoldering with smoke coming off from it. Seemed to be almost like a religious symbol of some kind. Our party thought to themselves, had they seen this symbol before? And they hadn't. It was the first time they saw this symbol. None of the traditional deities that they had encountered or that are commonly known in the world seem to have this as their symbol or symbology. So, were these people part of a group? Were they part of a religious following? Another question. And more we see signs from the Mwangi expanse coming. Boggards, Charau-ka, emperor birds. It just seemed to be, how did these things get here? The party did think, with the talks of elf gates and portals that led to far-off regions, that maybe one such portal led to the Mwangi expanse and that's how they got here, which only drove our party to try and figure out where these elf gates were and what they could do with them, and hopefully either close them or investigate what is opening this gate. I don't know about you guys, but our party seems to be getting quite a few more questions and answers as they keep delving through these crypts. Hopefully, they can discover the truth of the elf gates and the truth behind these mysterious invaders that seem to have arrived here under the Citadel. Tune in next time, guys, for another interesting and, may I say, thrilling episode of the Age of Ashes.